I'll do this and kind of back up just a little bit so you can see. This is called a rear naked choke. Has nothing to do with nakedness. I know you all are giggling like 12-year-olds, but it's fine.
I was going to ask a spicy question later, but you're getting to it, so this is perfect.
Hey, welcome to Tongue First, the podcast where queer questions meet honest chaos. I'm Bodera. You usually hear me in the middle of the episode, but this week I've got the whole thing. Wendy's under the weather, so Siren is joined by Valasara, stepping into the co-host chair for the first time.
Hey everybody, I am Valasara, otherwise known as Val, or Siren's personal assistant. Pronouns are she, her, and princess.
Alongside Lisa Smith, a licensed therapist who specializes in EMDR and works closely with queer and neurodivergent clients.
It's really just using the same information processing system we have in our brain. While we're sleeping, our brain is very active. If I kind of compare it to like a night janitor at a school, where when we're awake, our brain is doing things. There are people at the school when things are going on. The night janitor comes in and kind of cleans things out.
This one gets deep fast. Val shares something she's never talked about before on the podcast. Lisa breaks down what EMDR actually is and why it works. And they get into what makes a therapist genuinely safe for queer clients.
I had a therapist tell me one time that she doesn't really believe in going to therapy herself.
Oh.
I was like, okay, this is our last session, baby. I'm sorry.
It also somehow includes a rear naked chokehold demonstration and a 911 call via Apple Watch. It gets heavy, it gets educational, and it gets a little unhinged, per usual.
I was obsessed with ballet. We grew up pretty poor, so I didn't get to do a lot of things. Most anything that I got to do was either at school or not at all. I remember famously we got to do taekwondo when I was a kid until they required uniforms, and then I couldn't go.
Grab something warm, get comfortable, and go tongue first. This is episode 15, EMDR, Ballet, and Rear Naked Chokeholds with Lisa Smith.
Welcome to episode 15 of the Tongue First podcast, this beautifully amazing, chaotic, queer, sapphic podcast that has been gracing all of these wonderful, over 1,000 listeners a month for the past 3 months that we've been live, which is incredible. I'm one of the hosts. My name is Siren, government name Aubrey, but just stick with Siren, it's fine. My pronouns are she, her, and I have a wonderful guest co-host with me today who has not had her voice on the podcast yet, but has had her voice and fingers pretty much in everything and everything since I've been live on TikTok. I guess she found me a little bit later than I started, but this is one of my amazing mods, friend, and official assistant on TikTok, I think was the title. That's still in your bio. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I am Valasara, otherwise known as Val, or Siren's personal assistant. I am filling in for your regular co-host, Wendy Reeves. Pronouns are she, her, and princess.
Your pronouns are she, her, and princess.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were saying what Wendy's pronouns were, and I was like, I'm pretty sure it's bad bitch, but no, princess.
Pronouns are princess too, but only from Mr. Val.
Okay, valid. Where is Mr. Val? We hear about Mr. Val a lot on the podcast. Where is he right now?
Mr. Val, let me look out my window.
Oh.
And he is currently in the front yard with the small child, playing with the neighbor children and keeping them out of my hair.
I love this for you. It's 9 o'clock and dark as fuck on the East Coast, but you're not on the East Coast.
I am not. It is 6 o'clock and almost 100 degrees in Washington.
That's way high. It was like I could wear a hoodie today. It was a nice day. I liked it. And with us today is our guest on the podcast. First time here on the podcast. New guest is Lisa Smith. Now, Lisa is a licensed therapist who specializes in working with neurodivergent and queer clients. She's also someone who talks back to her screen while listening to this podcast, which honestly, I've heard from a number of people that is the case. In fact, I was listening in the car to episode 12 that just dropped? Episode 11 that just dropped. Listened to it in the car with Bo, and she was talking back to me as if I was talking to her. So relatable. But tonight she is finally on the other side of it. Outside of the therapy room, she's spent the last several years living one of the most interesting lives possible with some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, and now as an adult beginner, ballet. we're really, really glad she's here. Welcome in,
Uh-huh.
Lisa. Go ahead and
Thank
introduce
you.
yourself.
I mean, there's almost no more introduction that needs to happen. Siren said it all, really. Those are my big interests, both in like the Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai were very masculine kind of sports, and now I've completely 180'd into more feminine leaning sports. It's very interesting, but I'd say my first love, my longest love is my job and what I get to do for a living, which is really cool.
How long have you been a therapist, Lisa?
I was licensed in 2019. I had a year of unpaid internship before that in 2018. So what would that be? 8 years?
Nice. So like a decent chunk of time. Pretty much most of COVID, I guess. Like,
Oh yeah, I got my feet wet during COVID. November of 2019, I got my license. And then if you track the timeline, it takes a little while to build up a caseload. By the time I did, March happened and
you
the world shut
couldn't
down.
meet any of your clients in person,
I saw
I guess.
many ceiling fans, so many ceiling fans.
Oh my gosh. I
just
can't
phone
imagine.
straight up into the, yep.
Is that what people do when they do online therapy?
Oh,
What
so
in the
many
world?
times. This was many teens, unfortunately. Unfortunately. But yes, many ceiling fans. We had to have some conversations, a little uncomfortable about where we wear clothes. This is still a therapy session.
Right. Yeah.
So it was
Yeah,
very interesting.
Speaking of clothes, Val, we've seen each other in various states of clothes. Val, if you followed along in the podcast, Val was on the trip to New Orleans this year that we went to back in February for Mardi Gras with some people from the community, and I'm super stoked to have you on the podcast, and at least for a guest spot right now, and maybe depending on, I'm sure it's going to go great, but maybe more regularly.
As your assistant, as you know, you call, I'm going to come running. I will do whatever you need of me. Not all of it can be done on camera or recorded, but
No, nor would we want it to all be done on camera. We need paywalls for that. And we don't have those set up yet. But Val, tell the podcast land people a little bit about yourself since it's your first time here.
oh, about myself. Okay. And all of a sudden, I've forgotten how to speak.
That's okay.
So-
We can edit out whatever we want. We're not going to edit this part out because it's cute and awkward, but we can edit out other parts.
Cute and awkward. Okay, perfect description of me. So I am a 37-year-old married stay-at-home mom of 2. I have a degree in paralegal studies. I am a resident legal professional. I do not give legal advice. That is the unauthorized practice of law. Always seek a licensed bar exam, brain, no work attorney
Yeah.
when seeking legal advice. That's not me. I don't give it. No, absolutely not.
No. And just like in the same way, Lisa, we're not going to ask you for therapy session right now. Although we could get into a couple things, but we'll save that for a later time, I think. Maybe at least you get paid for the other sessions. So
I mean, yes, I was going to say that also goes double for me, what Val just said of that, this is not therapy advice. I know I asked you all to put that in there already, but this isn't therapy advice. It's just a therapist sharing more about this. And one of my passions, part of therapy, is to demystify this for people. I do this all the time. So I can talk about that without getting into specifics of what's confidential for people, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of the queer community that at least I've rolled in, circles that I've rolled in, are very well versed in therapy. I feel like in terms of like what it is, and I don't meet many queer people these days that are like, ew, no therapy, I would never go.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a generational thing, though. I would say the millennials and younger, for sure, are absolutely on board. Like, everybody needs therapy. But the horde of lesbians that raised me, for those of you who haven't heard the story on TikTok, I am a daughter of lesbians who have been together for 34 years.
So she's an honorary lesbian.
Yes.
She is currently with a man, but that's borderline, to be honest. Not the relationship, the fact that he's like a straight man. It's fine.
I had heard something on a
time.
TikTok recently about that, of something about Mr. Val and Jared or something. I don't know. I was like, oh boy.
Oh boy. We'll unpack this at some point.
Yeah. Another therapy session next week.
Another therapy session. And so I lost my train of thought. All I could think about was the time that Val and I made out for a minute. Anyway, so Lisa, I'm sure you have a wild amount of therapeutic things to say about that happening, but we're going to save that. Again, this is not therapy right now.
What's said here stays here. It's fine.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't stay here. Like,
Oh, well,
said
that's
that
true.
about
That's
New
true.
Orleans too,
But
but
that is
most of
not-
that ended up back on TikTok.
I was going to say,
Literally
that is
was
not
on TikTok while we were there.
that's not my business. That's y'all. You
That's our
can share.
business,
Yeah.
So speaking of your business, you are a licensed therapist and you have done this now for almost 8 years, you said?
November, would be 8 years.
And you're currently specializing in queer and like gender diverse community?
Yes.
Or
I mean, yes, absolutely. Those are part of my interest, but I would say my first home was trauma work. So I do a lot of that too. I'm trained in something called EMDR. Stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which I'm literally going exactly as I would talk to my clients about this. Is almost exactly
Sure.
what I say.
if it feels rehearsed, that's why.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. It's something I've said hundreds of times probably at this point, but I like to explain what it is. It's really just repeating or using the same information processing system we have in our brain while we're sleeping. Our brain is very active. It
Mhm.
wouldn't seem like it because we're asleep, but it is. And it's doing a lot of, I kind of compare it to like a night janitor at a school or a business where when we're awake, our brain is doing things. There are people at the business when they're awake or at the school when things are going on. The night janitor comes in and kind of cleans things out. So what we're doing when trauma memories are stored, and they tend to be stored in one way where we experience them as they're happening now and not so much as a past event, we're using that same processing system your brain already houses. What's funny is actually this was discovered by accident. EMDR was not on purpose. It was somebody was walking in a park. Francine Shapiro is the somebody. She was walking in a park and realized that she moved her eyes in a certain way and would feel better. She was actually I don't want to misspeak on this exactly, but I know that she was in a PhD program and changed from whatever she was working, I want to say literature, whatever she was working in to clinical counseling and studied this. So it started as a complete accident in its infancy, which is about as old as I am. I assume about as old as we all are. I know that Val said she's 34, so it's right around 35 years old. It's not very old at all. Oh, 37, I'm sorry. So
It's okay.
34 years is your mom's.
Yes.
Silly me. Yes, there was a 34 somewhere. Sorry about that.
You were right.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes. So, right around that age, right around our age is how old it is in therapy terms. That's not very old, really, at all.
What made you gravitate towards EMDR? Like, because I know there's a lot of different strategies for people to use in terms of like therapy and trauma.
Mhm.
What
Well,
about EMDR was your?
I actually started by doing that as a client. So I was already
Okay.
well versed in it. And once I became a therapist, I said, yeah, absolutely. I already know how this works. Honestly, I think
You
that
know
makes
that it
me,
works
I know
too?
that it works exactly
Yeah.
because it sounds insane. I
Right.
understand that it sounds insane.
My ex, who I was with for 11 years, did EMDR during the later portion of our marriage.
Mm.
So she would tell me about a little bit about what it was like and all of that, and it does sound quite insane.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
My trainer famously told the story where he would talk about, and he actually trained under Francine, where when it was brand new, I keep doing this motion, I talk with my hands a lot, that he would be looking at his mail and he would kind of put it across his field of vision as he decided whether it went to a pile to look at or straight into the garbage can. A lot of our mail goes straight into the garbage can. It's advertisements and whatnot.
Yeah.
Same as anybody. So
Yeah.
he would see this and see like new eye movement training or new whatever. And he would just go, this ridiculous. No, that's
Right.
not going to work. Immediately into the trash. And then, 30 something years later, he's training it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So he always honored that for us to say it sounds insane. It sounds like it shouldn't work.
Yeah. I love that. So more practically, like what actually is happening because you're in like are you in like a machine?
Nope. So I don't have them with me. I left them at work. But what I do is you either have several ways. You can do some self tapping, which if you both want to try this is not
Sure.
necessarily therapy. I'm a left-handed person, so I start here, but take your fingers and loop them like a butterfly. Find your collarbones and just tap back and forth, about 1 beat per second. This is just calming your nervous system. So if you pair it with nothing, it's going to probably feel like nothing. Some people find it pretty comforting, but this is EMDR, as well as I have some tappers that I have people hold that vibrate back and forth. Similarly, if I were to have you hold 2 cell phones and I just texted one and the other. So everything about this is what we call bilateral. And you just doing that just now was bilateral stimulation. You also can use, I don't have one, but a light bar where the light goes doot, 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 and then back and forth like this.
Gotcha.
Um,
I feel
and
like
then
that's what she had described to me when she was describing it a
yeah,
little bit, is something
yeah.
that like her eyes had to follow like that.
Yep. So it really depends on the therapist and their preference.
And you do that while you're like having like talk therapy on top of it, or like how
Kind
like
of.
okay.
So we set up, and there's this whole process of setting it up, but we set up whatever target we're going to target. So if we're targeting something traumatic, we
Yeah.
target that. I have you look at it as if you're in a video game where you're looking at it from a third person view. So you're not looking
Okay.
at it looking down at your own hands, you're looking at it as if you're looking at an avatar. And so you're really trying, what I'm trying to get you to do there is see things from your hindsight or from your today perspective, even if something
Yeah.
happened last week. You have
Yeah.
a bit of a rehearsed and thought out way of dealing with this now than in the moment. And so we're going back to that moment, that whatever's stuck there and keeping you stuck, you can see and go, oh, I just see, I'll use a very vague example, but I just see a very scared kid there. That's all
Yeah.
I see. I don't see all this pain. And so that tends to help us open our mind a little more,
Yeah.
use the other side of the brain. I'm
Val,
a
you've
big
been
nerd, if
really
you can't
locked
tell.
in.
Hey, before we continue, quick content warning. The next section of the episode includes disclosure of childhood sexual abuse. It's honest, and it may be hard for some of you to hear. Take care of yourself however you need to. If this isn't something you can sit with today, feel free to skip ahead and rejoin us once this section is over.
Val, do you have experience with EMDR?
I
At all?
actually have no experience with therapy at all. Well,
Okay.
actually, that's a lie. I guess trigger warning. I was molested when I was 5 by a neighbor boy. And parents did take me to a therapist who I guess I had a couple of sessions with. And he said, she's good. And then sent me on my way. And that has been my only experience with therapy ever.
Has it been a lack of like opportunity or need or desire?
I think I must have probably blocked most of that out. I have flashes and things from what happened, the various instances with this neighbor boy, but I think I was just always a relatively happy and centered child, so my parents never really thought there was a need to continue pushing it. Looking back since, I know I have other things that I kind of figured out how to handle myself. I deal with really rather difficult intrusive thoughts that I think a lot of people do, but I didn't have a name for it. And so I just kind of figured my own ways of handling it. And then when my dad died when I was 14, we lost my health insurance. So there was no way for me to get any help should it have been needed had I brought up to my parents what was actually going on in my brain. Because my dad carried my health insurance, and Donna, my mom's wife, they were not legally married. They couldn't be until 2012 is when Washington State passed gay marriage. But Donna's health insurance was federal. And so it wouldn't have passed to my mom or I anyway, until Obergefell in 2017, at which point I was an adult.
Right. Yeah, I was about to say, like in 2017, you're kind of like doing your own thing at that point.
Oh yeah, I had already had children at that point.
Right. No, I was more asking, like, as an adult, has there been there hasn't been a moment of desire, need, or opportunity? You haven't been like avoiding. Like, are you avoiding going to therapy, Val? Are you avoiding it? Or is there a stigma still built up in your mind?
Absolutely
Are you not gay enough yet? Hold on.
Not gay enough yet. Maybe. No, I'm pretty gay. Yeah, because you all know that Mr. Val's the last man I'm ever gonna be with. So,
Yeah, that's been promised.
Same for
um,
my husband, by the way.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like there's a lot of men out there that are clinging on just for the sake of men in general. They're like, we got to do this, boys. We're gonna lose them all. Oh God, that's sad, but
I think
fucking
my focus on Lisa explaining the therapy and the EDMR,
EMDR,
EMDR.
EMDR,
Very
EMDR
common mispronunciation, though, so it's okay. I get
is
it.
EDM, yeah.
EDM music, yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine just with the
Just watching the thing go back and forth to the time of the music.
that would be interesting. Maybe one day I'll have to try that with another colleague or something. See how it goes.
EDM, EMDR.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would be funny.
I think the focus is more. It's also, I think, often recommended along with CBT or CBIT to go with anxiety or even tic disorders, which for those of you who have listened in on TikTok, who I've spoken to, I have a 15-year-old daughter, often referred to simply as the teen, and she has Tourette syndrome. So focusing in, listening, because I know that these are often therapies that are used with those types of disorders or neurodivergencies. So it's fun to hear actually coming from an expert.
So you said you started, Lisa, with EMDR. Now I'm going to start saying EDMR. EMDR.
That's all right.
When you
Everybody knows what we're
started-
talking about. Switch the words. It's
Right.
fine.
So when you started in there, and then are you find yourself having more and more queer clients, or
Between queer and neurodivergent, yeah, I'd say 80 to 90% of my caseload tends to be one or the other or both.
Gotcha. And are you like, do you have that advertised somewhere, or you just find that that's the people that show up?
Honestly, a little of both. I certainly list it clearly on my website, where my bio is. It's going to make that known that I work with those communities, but also it just seems like even people who find me other ways are like almost like people knowing, like, okay, I know that you're
Yeah.
safe. I can tell.
Yeah. How does that feel?
Feels really good, honestly. Just to have things
As a
that were,
therapist, I bet that's kind of
yeah.
your hope and goal.
Oh my gosh, sometimes I've always said that this field can, and I think this is why there's harm sometimes and why people are scared. Because if someone, and whoever might be listening, has been harmed by a therapist before, it's because well, I wouldn't say a lot, but there's certainly a small amount of therapists that join this field because I hear weekly, you help me so much, that's so helpful. Think about somebody who has a big ego, that's going to feel really, really good to them. And I try to be very humble, but
Like a bit of a savior complex, like
Mhm.
needing that validation of I'm making other people feel good. Yeah,
Right.
ugh.
Yeah, I feel that just a little bit. No, I just definitely feel that vibe. Just, and I think that's one of the reasons why, this, Lisa, from spending time in my live room, that I struggle with looking at my DMs
Mhm.
because it's full of that, which I really appreciate. Like, I love that what I do affects people in such a positive way. But oh my God, you read that over and over again, and it can like it can start to go to your head a little bit, but it can also just like really, I feel really torn down, not necessarily torn down, but like I have felt lost in the moments where I haven't gotten that feedback. So it's hard to like depend on that.
Well, you become a bit of an imposter. You feel like if, let's just say, a certain week, people aren't doing that, not because you're doing anything differently, but because people are having a hard week, you're having a hard week, whatever it might be, and
Mercury's in the
you're not.
microwave, you
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
exactly. You're not getting that, and now all of a sudden your whole who you are and what you do is wrapped up in, am I getting that positive feedback? And then that becomes a whole other issue, especially in my field. It becomes a whole other issue.
Hey, it's Brodera again. Since I'm apparently running the whole show this week, Might as well pitch you on the Patreon too. Tongue First After Hours is where the bonus episodes live, including the aftercare debriefs and our new guest reveal post, where you find out who's coming before anyone else does. $5 a month gets you every episode ad-free. $15 unlocks the bonus content, and Pillow Talk members get their name read in the credits of every single episode. Everything's at tonguefirstpodcast.com or the link in the show notes. Okay, back to Siren, Val, and Lisa.
Val, feel free to interrupt me with questions or comments. However, same with you, Lisa. This is a very unscripted conversation, so I hope you don't feel like you need to fill a gap or anything like that. Or feel free to interrupt me, I guess is what I'm saying. Also,
I just follow your lead. You're the expert. This is your thing.
I am not an expert.
Fuzzy placeholder at the moment.
No, your energy is fantastic, Val, and I'm so glad you're here. Truly.
I'm just trying to make Bo's life easier.
You're trying to make whose life easier?
Bo's life. So she doesn't have to sit there and cut and paste.
No, it's honestly the editing part's pretty easy behind the scenes.
Well, in that case, I'll interrupt you all. But no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, just interrupt me all the time. Like honestly, the most difficult or the weirdest part is when multiple of us are talking at the same time, and then when we would look at the video back, there's people's mouths moving and then no words coming out because we'll just mute that part. So yeah, you can see who interrupts people a lot.
Covering my mouth so like I'm not like giggling into the phone and like having your Bo's gonna have to like cut out my little like squeak in the background.
No, that's the best part. Don't.
You have the cutest squeak.
You have the best squeak. Don't do that.
Is that going to be our new challenge for today? Is not therapy anymore, but trying to make Val break?
Yeah, it was squeaky Val. That's the goal.
Okay, good to know.
Nope, I'll just leave right now.
No, how dare you?
Rude.
Okay, so back on the topic of like queer people and like being either attracted to your space in particular or therapy in particular. Do you think EMDR works specifically like better with the type of trauma? I don't want to generalize by like saying the type of trauma that queer people carry, but do you think it seems to work better with with them in particular?
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily. I mean, I always wanted EMDR training, and then I guess I also had to work through my own journey of figuring out my queerness too. So I think it was something that wasn't a thing, and now all of a sudden it is, or not all of a sudden, but I didn't know until I knew. So I think that's where I've leaned into that more. I'm not going to say I don't use EMDR with my queer clients. I certainly do. I think there's a question you asked. I kind of want to touch on this one. I think it's really important.
Oh, please. Yeah. One of the ones I messaged you at the time.
One of the ones you messaged me is just about like what queer clients should, or prospective clients should be able to do, or what they would want to do. I can't remember exactly how you worded it. It was very good how you worded it in there. What does it actually look like for someone to find an affirming therapist right now? What should they be looking for, and what are the red flags? I think that's almost more important than talking about EMDR and the juxtaposition of that and queer people, only because this is important. And it's important because, especially where I live in the South. I live where a lot of people are not always comfortable finding a therapist because they're thinking this person's going to judge me immediately. And I can't lie to them and say that may never happen. How I like to do things and how I recommend people look for a therapist is find the ones that will offer you usually a 15 to 20 minute consult. So it should be free. They shouldn't actually charge you for that. It's very common where I live. But even if it's not, asking, just say, hey, I'd like to ask you a few questions. And in that time, whatever might be specifically going on with you, certainly ask about. But don't be afraid to. I know it's easier said than done, but don't be afraid. A therapist who you think would be affirming to you would welcome a conversation of, hey, this is my identity. This is something that's important to me. How do you handle that? Is that something you're comfortable working with? Because you get that started well before you get in their office and have to do that weird, I don't want to be here anymore, dance, that kind of thing. Political, all of that. I welcome that. I've had people ask me point blank, have you voted for the orange? What was it that we said? There's something about the orange, essentially. Have you voted for
Velveeta
that?
Voldemort.
Yeah, whatever
Yeah,
it might be.
Tangerine
Tyrant.
That's the one. Yeah, it's like there's something about an orange recently.
Dollar Tree dictator.
Yeah, all of the above. So it's like, I welcome a question like that because I want my clients to know, not because I want to sit there and publicize who I vote for, but if that's important to you, it's important to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
So a green flag of a therapist in general, whether that be for queer issues or anything else, do they welcome your questions? Because if they're sidestepping it at all, they're probably not the therapist for you.
I had a therapist tell me one time that she doesn't really believe in going to therapy herself.
Oh.
I was like, okay, this is our last session, baby. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some other red flags though too.
That's one big one, is something like that. But just in general, actually here, the whole idea of I have a lot of things I rehearse and say to my clients. This is one though, it's important. And
Sure.
because I've rehearsed it, it's really kind of concise.
We'll put in a little like jingle or something here and like yeah.
Therapy, something with Lisa. I don't know yet. I don't know what it would be. So funny. So awkward. I'm awkward. It's fine.
You're beautiful. You're not.
Oh, thank you.
Fine. We're allowed to be awkward.
So I tell them in a very first session, whether I've talked to them on the phone or not. Sometimes this comes out in the phone conversation, sometimes not. I tell them you should expect 3 things of me and 1 thing, small thing, I expect of you. Just to kind of give them a buy-in here.
Yeah.
The things you should expect from me, and Siren already knows this, is I'm punctual. Barring an emergency, I literally had a time where I had to cancel the rest of my day because I went in the hospital. So, I can't always be there. But, if you make an appointment with me at 6, I'm going to be there at 6 99% of the time. So you should expect me to be there. You should expect me to be listening to what you're saying, invested in what you're saying. If I'm not, I'm going to be obvious here, but if I'm doing this, looking at my phone, you can see I'm looking at another screen. It's not the therapist for you. And then also you should expect me to pay attention to what you're not saying, because that's just as much as important as what you are. I've had so many people, including today, that say, oh, I've never thought about that thing before, because I'm paying attention to what you're not saying as much as I am what you are. And then the thing I expect of them is if you have 10%, give me 10% today. Like if you have just this much to be open-minded, to be able to be here to do some work, give me that. If you have 5%, give me that. If you have 70%, great. But it does take a certain amount of work for you to experience growth here and change here. And part of that is just being open. And that comes with trust. I get that. And that's what I do and do so much with. I'm so passionate. If you can't tell, I'm so passionate about doing that for people, is giving them a place to be. I'm often sometimes clients 6th, 7th, 8th therapist, and they often stay. And it's because of these things, I think, that I asked for at the very beginning.
Yeah, it communicates very clearly, and it also recognizes something very human that I talk about often in my live room. Like, we don't have to go 100% or 0%. There's we're made up of so many different aspects and so many different parts of us that you can't expect people. I can't expect myself to show up at 100% all the time, but there's a little part of me that wants to be there, and let me give that little part a little bit of time and a little bit of energy, because if we start small and we feed that small part, maybe tomorrow we're going to be at 10%, and the next day we're going to be at 15%, and the next day we're going to be at 20, but you got to work their way there. Yep. So I love that, recognizing that ahead of time is really helpful.
And I think it gives people the freedom to go, okay, I don't have to perform. I've literally handed out A+ in sessions before. It's kind of, the story is funny where I can't get into who specifically, but I said, this person who's got perfection issues, whatever, to say, I want a good grade in therapy. And I said, okay. And I took a page out of my empty notebook, wrote A+ on it, circled it, and said, okay, let's get to work.
All right.
Here you go. Here you go. You have your A+ now. So now what?
No. That's so real for the achievers in the room, for sure.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, right? If we're so afraid I'm not going to get my A+, if I give it to you, then what? And that was I think that took that person aback for a minute. They were like, oh, okay. But that's me. I'm real. I have a therapist persona, much as you probably have your live persona, your podcast persona, but it's
my
pretty much me.
Performance persona, basically.
It's
and that leaks over in real life. Do you find your therapist persona leaking over in real life? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
It,
yeah.
it is absolutely the same. Like, I know, like, Wendy and Siren, they've talked about this before, about, meeting each other and realizing that they truly are the same person on screen as they are in person. As someone who doesn't do this, on screen personality, who like practically cried the first time I got in a box with Siren because I was so nervous. I
That was me
they
yesterday or whatever day it was.
Yesterday,
I was like, oh my
yesterday
God.
or Monday. Oh my goodness.
but Siren, Wendy, they truly are the same person that you see on camera. That is who they are in person. Like, it's really kind of crazy. Siren is so much this big glowing personality, and there's no act. It's just this
Yeah, I
magneticness.
think Daisy, the episode I just edited was the one with Daisy, Lackadaisy Lady, if you guys know who I'm talking about. She said something about like where it's not an act as much as it's just taking our personality and turning it up to 11. Like I'm not being someone different. I'm just being all of it. All like really loud about it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to like, drift into a shadow. And I think I'm like that in person too, but it's definitely more vivacious on a live for sure. But yeah, I find myself coming out of them sometimes and talking even in a voice like this when like this is not how I normally talk all the time. This is my radio announcer type voice, whatever. And that voice will leak out, especially if I'm like, it happened at dinner tonight after we cooked on live for a while. We turned the camera off and I sat down at dinner and started talking to Bo as if I was on a live. And I was like, this is not a performance. I need to shut the fuck up. Like, come on, what's happening? But yeah, I got to imagine that's got to feel interesting coming out of a therapy session and kind of holding on to that same energy in the rest of your world.
One of the things I do that I learned very early on is to treat my office like a container. So I do, and I tell my clients this too, because I often want to model for them what I do, not because it's all about me and I should tell you everything that works for me should work for you, but it's a skill. It's something
Yeah.
that's important. It's kind of
It gives people
compartmentalization.
hope too, to
Yeah.
know that they can do something and actually change shit in their life.
Right.
You know?
But what I do is I leave my office, and as I'm locking up, as I'm doing whatever I do, I'm thinking about leaving my clients there. And I tell them not because I don't care about them, not because I don't want to help them, but because I need to go home and do my life, right? And I can't do
Yeah.
that if you all are in my head.
Yeah.
And so I do that, but I've often found because I'm so passionate, I tend to, or I have in the past, attracted people who see Lisa the therapist all over the place. So, if I'm in a social situation, I can't tell you how many times I've been like somebody very general and just a very, oh, what do you do? Just socially at a party or whatever. Oh, what do you do? And oh, I'm a therapist. I often get, and that's what I tell them. And I often get, oh, like physical therapist. And I said, oh no, I'm just like a, mental health therapist talking to people about their problems. And they go, oh, good. And I go, oh, great.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is where I'm going to be for the next.
good.
Yeah, I'm going to be here for the next 20 minutes. Great. And
Yeah.
some people have joked, oh, and now you should be like, well, my rate is this, so I'm gonna sit here and sit here and mentally bill you. But I've had to learn time and place, and I think that's been the hardest part is because I'm so passionate. I think I've been more therapist most of my life than I have
Yeah.
been anything else. Like I think I was training for this long before I trained for this. So it's
Yeah.
just in me, and so it's a little hard to stop that. So I've
Yeah.
just found I have to be careful who I'm talking to and pay
Yeah.
more attention to that.
I found that I went to like training and this is not even close to the amount of work that you've done. I don't want to minimize
Oh,
anything that
no,
you've done
it's
at
okay.
all, but I've gone to training to get a coaching certification
Mm.
to help people with like goal setting and
Mhm.
like developing strategies and stuff like that to actually like go for those goals and things like that. And I learned these like some strategies and stuff in order to like help people set goals and solve problems in their life and stuff like that. So I then found myself like in a family situation or with my partner thinking like, oh, you need we need to talk about some goals and like we need to like I could do some active listening right here and just like we could get through some shit. But it became it has become like partly like that is then my job in the relationship. Like I can like become that person's therapist, which is not healthy
Mm-mm.
for a partnership like that. Have you run into that problem? Is it something that you like have had to actively like work against, or is it
Yep,
yeah.
absolutely. Like I said, I've found even close friends of mine have seen me as therapist first. I've had to really gently coach my husband to give me a minute when I get home because oftentimes, and this may happen in either of your lives, where, um, you get home and or for Siren, maybe when like Bo and Squeezy get home, oh, how was your day? That's immediately what we do. Or, oh, my day was this and this and this.
Yeah.
But because he's often sharing whatever struggles or stresses or whatever he's gone through, I'm just kind of like, I can't, like, you
Right,
got to give me
right.
a minute. Give me
Like
like
literally
30
have been
minutes.
listening to everybody's stress and struggles all day.
Yes. Yeah, and he
Yeah.
doesn't always remember that. So, like, he's very unassuming in that, but I have had people, like I said, who do that kinda I mentioned it at a party, but I've even had some close friends at times who are no longer close, who see me as therapist first and only reach out to me. I've had people a famous friend of mine I can think of, in my mind famous, is one
Yeah.
that did not talk to me for a year and then called me up in crisis, and I was like, "Nope, we're done. Not doing that. No, thanks."
Yeah. That's an unhealthy relationship.
Yeah, but I seem to attract that because I was just so especially early on in my career, so fired up to help, and people see that, and unfortunately, even if they don't realize it, want to take advantage of that because it's like, "Hey, I can get this for free. Why would I go find a therapist and go do this?"
Yeah. Um Other than like the obvious things, like feeling safe or like money or finances, what are some of like the biggest barriers that you see for like queer people specifically trying therapy or trying to find like
Mhm.
some sort of like professional support in that way?
I would say I'll start with general and then I'll move to specifically queer people. So I kind of ruined therapist movies, TV shows, anything for me early on in my and actually my schooling, not even my career yet. Of think about any therapist movie you can think about. I'll throw out a few: Goodwill Hunting, Sopranos as a therapist, all different kinds of oh gosh, what's the others? I know I had written about them. Now I can't think of them. But
Goodwill Hunting is the one that comes to my head
Mhm.
for
Yeah,
sure.
so think about that therapist. What did he do? And I love Robin Williams. I would never talk bad about him, but he threw his client against the wall. If that is your only understanding of a therapist, are you gonna go?
Probably not. No.
No. So in general, I have to fight against that. Not I wouldn't say like in any conscious way, but I think I have to fight against that to educate, okay, who are we? What are we doing here? I'm not throwing any client against the wall. Absolutely not. Unless
Right.
you're coming at me first and I'm not even throwing you against the wall, I'm gonna be like, okay, we're gonna
Right.
chill. And if you're gonna come at me, I'm definitely gonna make sure that you're not gonna hurt me, or hurt yourself in the process. But I'm not gonna throw you against the wall. So that's general. Going into queer people, it's really just I think a lot of is this person gonna be safe? Are they gonna understand me? One thing I'll touch on too, barrier-wise, is I think, you also asked this, so a lot of either straight or cis, I mean, I'm myself cis, but a lot of straight cis not wanting to know, not wanting to learn, therapists immediately think if you come in and you're queer, you're trans or something, that that is, like, the sole reason you're there. So I've
Mm,
seen so many people where it's everything to do with what's wrong with you has or what you feel is wrong with you, what you say is wrong with you has to do with something to do with you being trans, and that's not always the case. People who are trans can just come in for anxiety. People who are queer can just come in for anxiety. It doesn't mean that it all has to do with that. So it's this
yeah.
balance I have of knowledge, understanding, and I do a lot of learning. I do a lot of paying attention. In fact, if honestly, maybe at the very, very beginning, I was just kind of curious about you because I saw, oh, another trans voice that I can listen to because I'm not. So I need to listen to the voices that are to know what's important, what's not. Just because I can't fully know. I never can. Even if
Yeah.
myself I'm queer, I can't fully know an experience I don't have.
Yeah.
So partly is just listening, paying attention, learning from people in general. And I think having a therapist that is somebody who will see you as an individual is going to be important. And I think for a lot of queer people, they don't. they don't even see that as a possibility, or unless and until they see it, especially if they've never done it before. They don't see that there's anybody like me out there. It's going to be everybody's got, no glasses down their nose and a cardigan, which I love a good cardigan, but
Yeah, who
As
doesn't?
as you just
exactly.
described me.
Whoops, my bad. Well, luckily Val's not a therapist, so you're fine.
All right, so we're fine. As she. Oh
Hopefully,
my
I answered your
goodness.
question.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely,
Okay.
definitely. I have follow-ups. I did until just noticed how cute Val was being with the glasses, and now the follow-ups are gone. No, we'll find them again. We'll find them again. No, you were talking about barriers, and I feel like and like how like it's not all that one thing, and I find it interesting because when I started going to therapy, I I started going to therapy before I came out. I did for like a couple of years, stopped for a little bit because like COVID started. My therapist like moved to a different like company, so like I couldn't talk to her anymore, and it got really frustrating being given the runarounds and stuff. And in that one, we talked a lot. We talked a little bit more about like gender and like transitioning and stuff like that, but so much of it just felt like for me, I was like, I know, like that. I feel like this is solving problems with that. Like, I didn't even realize had solution, nor was I even looking for a solution. And it quickly became like, oh, I'm going to therapy because I came out as trans, but in reality, I'm going to therapy because like I need to like figure out what's going on with my marriage. And like ultimately, like I think what I talked to my therapist about the most was that and about that feeling of like being lost and like getting over codependency and things like that I was like working through at the time. So yeah, I relate to that significantly in terms of like it's so much bigger of a picture than just one aspect.
I find that people who are either baby therapists that want to be accepting, they get a little overexcited and they think, "Oh, I just have to." I mean, if all your clients are queer, sure, like every single one, maybe that makes more sense. But even with that, if you're a therapist that doesn't maybe know the experience or have the lived experience, it's a little harder to not just see that as the issue.
Yeah.
Certainly, there are issues to work through in that, but seeing a whole person is gonna be so much better, and I think that maybe that might be a barrier sometimes is just not only do I think, "Is this therapist gonna accept me?" but are they gonna accept me so hard that I'm under a microscope?
Yeah. And I think it can be a barrier to our own healing too.
Mhm.
Cause like my first therapist I went to because I was trying to get through some religious trauma nonsense and like purity culture and stuff like that had like messed up my brain in a good bit of way. And again, it was almost like I started going to therapy and realized that, oh my God, I worked through so much of that shit already, but there's all this other shit that now I'm like, oh, maybe we need to talk about like, my childhood emotional neglect and all that other bullshit that like, it wasn't even on my mind. But if I stay too focused on the one thing, I can imagine that, kind of getting lost in that. I think my therapist at the time did a really good job of like opening that up and saying like, no, maybe let's look at some bigger picture stuff.
Mhm.
But I
I
found that
have
really helpful.
simultaneously there's a famous, math essay out there, which I hate math, but I love this
I
essay.
love math. I love math.
Me and math aren't really good friends, that's why I got a social science degree. So not really good friends, but anyways, neither here nor there, of being either a bird or a frog. A frog can look at the details very closely, but cannot see the forest for the trees, right? And a
Right.
bird is the opposite, can see everything, can see the big picture, but not so much the small things, and I kind of float this, like, I can be either. I'm a switch, apparently.
Oh, hell yeah. Love that. And we bring it back around, y'all. We bring it back around. It's always good to be a switch. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. You have fun both ways. It's fantastic.
Exactly, exactly. And I will never say which what no, I'm just kidding. That was deliberate. That was very deliberate.
Yeah, that's fair. That's loud. Uh, do you have any advice? This made me think of like what you're just talking about. Made me think of this. Do you have any advice for people who are considering going to school to become a therapist?
Um, trying to think. It's very much a question I didn't think about. Certainly, you mentioned this earlier, do your own work, both before, during, and after. Please, please, please do your own work. I don't know. This is pretty open. Yeah, it's not like there's anything that I can't say as far as like I'm not going to get graphic, but there's an analogy I use that I talk about that you'll bleed on people that didn't cut you. I don't know if this is an okay analogy to use, but I often use in like therapy sessions and just in general to say when we don't heal things, when we don't heal what's going on with us, we bleed on people who never cut us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna tell that one to Mr. Val.
Hmm.
He's gonna take
Um,
that to his therapist next week, and
See, what sharing is caring, right? But
Yeah.
yes, that's the big one is just when you get into this field, recognize that the people who are coming to you are trusting you, which is a big responsibility, and to, try not to get a big head. It's hard, especially when people are telling you really, really amazing things about yourself. It's hard, um, but always kind of be humble. That's one of the things for me. I'm always teachable. There's always a new client. There's always a new situation. I can't possibly ever know everything.
Right.
And then
Nor
also,
is that your job as a
no,
therapist, you
mm,
know?
no, for
Yeah.
sure. But when you're thinking of people who are studying, I picked up on that Clara looks like she's maybe studying to be a therapist.
Yes, she
Clara's
is.
Yes,
finishing
that's
her
what I thought.
internship right now.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought. So, I'm not speaking to her necessarily. I don't really know her, so I don't know if that's true, but just generally make sure you're always doing your own work. I mean, I think in this field and the combat to compassion fatigue, eventually burnout, is to consistently be sharing your own stuff, whether that be clients are triggering stuff or just some things coming up. It doesn't have to be you go to a therapist for life. I've
Right.
been on and off, but I currently see a therapist. I will probably see a therapist for the rest of my life in some capacity because I
Yeah.
need to. I
It's
absolutely
nice
need
to
to manage
also
my.
have that relationship built with someone a little bit so that
Mhm.
like when you have a moment that you need someone, you're not going back because I was gonna say that's a barrier for me sometimes when I think about like finding like a new like weekly or biweekly therapist is like I gotta do I gotta spend 6 sessions like giving them the background work ugh
I
like I
saw a
wish I
meme
could just
once.
find the person that I had before.
Right. I saw a meme once and I keep threatening to do this because I think it's hysterical, is they made, a PowerPoint that literally said, "My trauma 1997 to present," and it's a legit PowerPoint, and they just gave that to their therapist the first session.
If I ever do therapy, that is exactly what I'm gonna have
Oh
to
my god, I
do.
love this.
I've
That's
been
a great
told
Please tell me if
idea.
you
so
do
many
that, I need to
times that
know.
I need a book because people I'm very happy, I'm smiley, and then I start talking about the history and people just you watch their faces just get like heavier and heavier and heavier. And then I'm smiling and are you okay?
I've definitely made that face to you before.
Oh yeah, I probably when I told you about my dad yeeting himself, that was a
That one and then the demonic red-eyed demon thing that
Oh.
corners you in your sleep.
Oh,
That
sleep
one, I was
paralysis
like, "Are
demon, that's
you
fun.
okay?
I'm cool. I'm good.
Everything's fine."
I just think,
Okay.
yeah, I thought that was hysterical. I'm like, "Yes, if anybody ever did that for me as a therapist, I would be so beside myself, so happy."
You would have to give them an A+. plus.
Yes, I would, and I
You
absolutely
would.
would. I'd be like,
Yay,
"A plus
women's
for first session."
therapy.
Exactly. That is what we learned today, that therapy is, using a PowerPoint to share your trauma and you get an A plus.
Do you own your own, like, what do you call it? It's not a
Practice?
firm. Practice.
Yes and no. I do
Okay.
because I'm an independent contractor within a very small group, so we have 4 people, which is nice for connection. Owning your own practice completely can feel a bit like an island, where
I
you're
can
just with
imagine.
people and you don't have anybody to poke your head in and go, "Oh no, this therapist this session was like something I don't know what to do, but I think you might. So let me just quickly run this by you." I like that. So I tend
Yeah.
to stick in group practices. I do have to have a fee split with that, but it's okay. That's pretty
Yeah.
commonplace.
Yeah. I feel like it's also nice to, have that I don't know, that, like, fallback to be like, okay, like, if something like, if you're in, like, a slump in terms of, like, clients, you have that kind of knowledge that you're all kinda working together for the same end.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. I was gonna say, the reason I ask is because you have the name for your practice if you were to open your own. A+ therapy. I mean, it's there.
That's true. That's true. Maybe I would have to do that.
Sorry, I had to. It was just
And
perfectly
I'll have to
lined
give
up right there.
I'll be like, I'll give Aubrey Jones credit for that.
Yeah, I just need my name on the bottom of every sign that it has on there would be
All right.
perfect.
That's fine. I got you. I got you.
A+ personality over here. Okay, so let's get off of therapy for just a moment, unless there's something else you want to add into that aspect of who you are, because you yourself are more than just a therapist. You're whole ass human being,
Yes,
which I
am.
love that, and you have done some pretty wild things. Brazilian. Fuck, I can't say the word. But I'm just gonna say jujitsu. Is there multiple kinds, or is it all
Yes, there are.
Brazilian?
Yeah, Japanese is where it started.
Okay.
But it's
so
okay. You're fine.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu and
Yeah.
Muay Thai to
Mhm.
ballet. What
Mhm.
pulled you to all these things? They feel very like embodying practices, and I'm wondering if maybe
Yes.
that's why.
Partly. Yeah, I actually started kickboxing, and I did that because I was I'm very tall, but I'm also very meek and very quiet, and in my 20s I really didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And it started really as a fitness journey. Muay Thai came next because I went, "Oh, this is kind of fun to spar. This is cool." Like I hit
Yeah.
pads with my coach, and I thought this was really cool. So then I went to do Muay Thai. I never did compete in that scenario. I actually ruptured my eardrum one time. That was fun. Um,
Oh gosh.
yeah, yeah. I had a little bit of extra stuffing in my head, and somebody got me with a hook, and it just hit just right. Unfortunately,
So
it was
you
okay.
didn't rupture your
No.
eardrum. Someone else ruptured your eardrum for
Yes.
you.
Yes, pretty
Goddamn.
much, yeah. Because we spar, so, we wear mouth guards and stuff. That eventually just kinda led to me being curious about grappling because as soon as you go to the ground, generally, people don't know what to do in a fight. You can get in a fight stance and, either if you don't know, pretend, or if you do, then actually fighting, but a very high percentage of fights go to the ground. And then most people don't know what to do, they do this usually, right? And then someone just is trying to do whatever to you. So, I really liked grappling for that reason, and I actually really liked it as I started to get into my job, because being a female, I'd often have people say, "Oh, if you're the last person here, you should, like, make sure somebody's here," and I was like, I'm okay." And it's because yeah, only
Meanwhile, you're like, I secretly hope I have to kick someone's ass on the way to my car
yeah,
tonight. I need
exactly.
to blow off some steam. Come at me, bro.
Let's
I'm
go. Yeah.
realizing right now that this is now two, like, totally unassuming women that could also just beat the ever-loving shit out of someone, because we learned today that Amber is, like, a two-time black belt.
Yeah. Amber T, who
Yes.
just
Okay.
had the baby. She's
Aw,
like a second-degree black belt.
did
So
not know
this is
that.
just
I'm
reminding
like,
me of that,
okay,
like, these
queen. Like, I'm like,
two women who definitely would not have expected it, and I'm like, now I really wanna see you just, like, beat the shit out of somebody.
I can probably find that. I did compete in jujitsu. And you can call it jujitsu. That's fine. But I also think of I really liked having jujitsu, and my knee hurt, so that's why I can't do it anymore. I
mm,
destroyed my knee, unfortunately, so I can't do it.
I feel that.
But I'll do this and kind of here. I'll back up just a little bit so you can see. This is called a rear naked choke. Has nothing to do with nakedness. I know you all are like giggling like 12-year-olds, but it's fine.
I was
So
gonna ask a spicy question later, but you're
you
getting
can't.
to it, so this is
It's
perfect.
okay. Yeah, so this is and basically what you're doing is, you're sitting here like this and somebody's head's here. So it's definitely very spicy looking, for sure. Exactly. So
Yeah.
this can be a choke, but it also can be a hold. So I think of this where I can just kind of if it ever became I had a client that was gonna come at me, that is what I would do. If I can get you to the ground, I'd be like, "Okay, we're calming down now, yeah? Like you're
Yeah. Yeah.
you are not coming at me and I'm not no, yeah, like
Yeah.
and I also wear this to work all
Oh,
the
sweet.
time. It's my Apple Watch.
Yeah.
And I wear that because this is my key to 911 should I need it.
Sure.
Press it hard, press a long press, and it will do it. I actually did it on accident once in session. That was really fun.
I have done that before. My Apple Watch, the screen was broken, so I thought the damn thing was off. And then I get a call back on my cellular device like 5 minutes later. Hey, this is 911 returning your call. I'm like, what? I did not call not what is happening. Everything's fine. I promise. Everything's fine.
Luckily, this client was very long time, so we just had a really good chuckle about it. But I was like, "Oh, geez," because all
Yeah.
of a sudden I heard voices. I'm like, "Where is this guy?" I'm like, look at my watch, and sure enough, and I was like talking to my watch, going, "No, it wasn't me. I didn't mean
Don't
it."
send the emergency
Yeah,
services.
yeah. But in general, like I have all these protections in mind, and that's because I'm often just me and a client, and I don't work really with dangerous people. But you never know. There
Yeah.
was a case out in Florida maybe about a year ago ish, where somebody, a disgruntled client came in, and unfortunately killed that therapist. So it happens. It's rare, but it happens. So
Yeah.
I'd rather be prepared. And that was partially jujitsu was fun. I kind of called it physical chess because that's what it feels like.
Oh, that makes me interested, way more interested in learning about it. Damn. How dare you?
I'm a very good salesperson.
Yes. I'm curious though, like also like this is for personal protection. You're describing it now, but like you had mentioned earlier that like maybe like I always say it's you deserve to take up space,
Mhm.
and I it almost made me it makes me wonder did you struggle taking up space?
Yep. I
Yeah.
come in a bigger body, so I'm
Right.
often and I'm also just tall. I'm 5'8". So even if I was just super thin, I would always kind of want to
Right.
do this. And so yes, embodying is important to me. In the types of sports I choose, it seems it's
Yeah.
just and without getting into fully, I don't necessarily talk at length about like trauma I've been through, but that's definitely part of it.
Yeah.
Is being able to say no, no, that kind of thing will never happen to me again.
Yeah. That serves as a bit of a reminder. Therapists have trauma too. Like they're human. Do you ever find that your trauma gets triggered by clients' trauma?
Every day,
Oh my
every
gosh.
day.
How do you navigate that?
Sometimes it becomes a bit of a help because the trigger is more of a this is here, not so much a this is bothering me kind of
Right.
thing. If it's bothering me, that's where therapy comes in handy. And that's exactly why I say go to therapy, go to therapy. Even therapists that don't think they need it right then, make sure
Yeah.
you're going to therapy on a regular basis because it can sneak up on you. But I find that it's like, sometimes I ask questions that I can't explain why I do. I just do. And so that's where, like, trauma triggering comes in handy, and I manage it that way, but also I manage it and just making sure I have self-care, making sure I make time for lunch, making sure I go to the bathroom. I know that's silly stuff, but, like,
It's
ultimately, it's, like,
important.
it's important. It doesn't seem like it would be, but I make sure that I kinda give myself just a after a session, and some of them are more than others.
Yeah. Self-care.
Yeah. But I find that I just have a real solid wall between my trauma and theirs because it's not
Yeah.
about me. And I think that's the big thing
Yeah.
that I take away of therapy is just as much as I can maybe say, "Oh, I relate to this, I understand," or there's things that they say that again, and just intrinsically, intuitively understand, and then they'll say, "Well, how did you know that?" And it's because I know, I understand it because I get it.
Yeah.
But I also just, I'm really it's really important to me to keep that wall because it's not about me.
Right.
It's about you.
Um, so we just tracked off of the what we were talking about a little bit, but
We sure did.
bring us to ballet. Like what made ballet become a thing? Because that's pretty freaking cool.
When I was little, when I was, like, 7 or 8, maybe something like 6, 7, 8, somewhere around when you're like, your kiddo's age, really.
Yeah.
I was and probably yours too, Val, I don't know how old your younger is, but, I was obsessed with ballet. I little we grew up pretty poor. I'm fine with saying that on a podcast. We grew up pretty poor, so I didn't get to do a lot of things. Most anything that I got to do was either at school or not at all. I remember famously we got to do taekwondo, when I was a kid until they required uniforms, and then I couldn't go. So, they could, like, I could take 3 or 4 or 5 classes, and then it was like, "Oh, you in order to test for this belt, you need a uniform." Couldn't afford a uniform, so we couldn't go. Um,
Yeah.
and so I was obsessed with ballet when I was little, to the point, like I said, I got a library book, I studied the positions, I tried to learn how to do all that, and of course, a little kid doesn't know. Um, when I hurt my knee, I tried to figure out, "Okay, what else can I do?" And I knew that ballet was very gentle, I knew it did a lot of stretching, strengthening, which is what I needed, and so I wound up in a local school by me, terrified the first day thinking that they were gonna see me and the way my body looks and say, "Ew, what are you doing here? You get out of here." Like, A hippo and a tutu.
Where's your daughter? Like,
Yeah,
like, are you
exactly.
bringing someone else?
Right.
Like, I'm
Right.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. So this is where I'm at now, and I did just get on pointe this year. So I also do the toe shoes where we stand on our toes.
That's so cool.
That is
Yeah.
just insane to me. The thought of learning and reaching that point in your 30s, because I did ballet as a child,
Mhm.
and I didn't quite make it to pointe before I gave up. But just, I couldn't imagine doing that now. Like, insane. Like, great. Wow.
Well, thank you. I'm also, if you can't tell, I'm somebody when I put my mind to something, it happens. Like I literally don't give up. The stereotype about redheads is true, both in that they're very angry sometimes, they have a spiciness, but they're also very, very stubborn. I'm very stubborn.
I love when people start something new when they're past the age that we typically expect someone to start something new. I a lot of the clients that I had when I was a coach were people who were coming out of the church and
Mm.
looking for not just like how to process that or like what they wanted to do. It was mostly like their goals were around like how do I find myself again? Because people get so lost in the identity that comes with religion, and like you can get lost in the identity that comes with anything, but finding a hobby, finding something that you feel fed in is so hard for people sometimes. What was the thing that just like kept you going in this? Because I feel like the community aspect is there too,
Mhm.
right? And like what brought you into this type of like hobby? When did you find it?
I found it a little while after jujitsu. I had to heal my knee. I hurt it to where I basically have scar tissue, and I still do. So I have to baby that knee. It's my right knee. And so, I kind of had to be careful with it, but I just happened to Google is really what it was. I was like, let me just see. Is there anywhere that could do adult ballet? And I remember I called and said, hey, is it okay if I show up and I'm not, I don't look like these girls that you have on your website and things like that. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. So I protected myself as best I could, but it was really just I'm tired of sitting around. I don't sit around very well. I have ADHD, so I do not sit around very well at all. Um, and I guess my mind wanted to be fed too, and I'm like, "Let me
Yeah.
just do something else," and like I said, I fully expected to just if I had so much as a glance, and I'm very good at paying attention to people and faces. I saw a glance, if I saw like, "What are you doing here?" I would've been like, "I have the wrong class, take care,
Yeah.
see ya." I would've
Yeah.
I would've just turned right back around and left, and it
Yeah.
would've been really sad, but thankfully, that wasn't my experience, and so I just kind of week by week went and tried to make that an excuse to get out of my head. I'm very hard on myself. So, um, it was an exercise in not being embodying femininity, which was something I wasn't used to at the time. I was used to rolling around with sweaty boys. It was very interesting to go from that to this, and softness and I'm not always that way. I'm a little more aggressive by nature, I suppose. Um, and so it was just an exercise in a lot of that, and it kept me coming back.
You're 33 right now?
36, almost
36.
37.
Okay.
I'm a
Okay.
Leo, so
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. If you're not a Gemini, I have no idea where you fall.
Oh,
I
August
don't know any
22nd.
of the other ones. I'm really bad.
I'm the last
Sorry.
day of Leo, August 22nd.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Leo Virgo cusp.
You know what's hysterical? I was born at 11:59 PM, so I'm fashionably late, I guess. So literally the last possible minute of Leo. It's kinda funny.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm a Leo moon.
That's right, you told me
Um,
that.
yeah.
Leo
Can I
rising.
All the Leos
so a lot
somewhere.
of Leo energy going on around here. Just a little bit. Uh this is a weird question. The answer is probably no. But I gotta ask because literally the last 3 guests we had the same experience with something that they went to. Did you go to the first one and then wait in your car, decide not to go in and go home and then come back another time?
No.
No. Okay, first time. Hell yeah. Proud of you. Nice
Thank
job.
you. Thank you. I think if I had done that, I never would have gone back. So I needed to just
That's
sit
fair.
there and and have my moment and then go.
That's fair. We were talking to Daisy, who went to like this karaoke thing, but like she went there the first time, sat in the parking lot for 3 hours, and just watched people go in and out, and then left, and then ended up coming back the next time. And then I think it was Adam that was talking about when he went to that like gay bar for the first time. Was like I just sat in the parking lot and ended up leaving, but I came back and tried it again. So it's a very different energy to go at it with, but I love it. Do you still find that you're discovering pieces of yourself, discovering aspects of who you are? Or do you feel like,
Yes.
yeah? What's something that you recently discovered about yourself?
It's a hard question. I feel like there has to be something.
Maybe
Maybe
something that you could do that you didn't think you could.
pick up language. I've been trying to learn Spanish, which don't ask me to speak it. I'm not very good, but I've been trying to. I think
Well, we know you're going to do it because if you put your mind to it, you're going to do it.
But can
We
you
already
roll
talked
your
about that.
R's? See, I'm so jealous.
That was good.
I'm like
That was good.
Wendy, cannot do it.
That was good.
kind of sounded like a cat. I didn't mean that, but it doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh, I was going to ask a spicy question. Hold on.
Yes, spicy grape.
So it was in relation to your jujitsu
Oh
and
yes.
the Muay Thai stuff. Have you used said techniques in a fun, playful, sexy bedroom way? Or is your partner like, no, thank you?
No, yeah, I used to when I was doing it more often. Yeah, I'd be like, "Come here." Yeah,
Hell yeah. Okay, cool. Fun.
I told
Okay,
you I'm a
fun.
switch.
Yeah, that's half the reason why I asked.
Yes, it would always
I
be
love that.
playful. I mean, I'm not necessarily into like, like there's some people, and I don't kink shame, but there's people into like asphyxiation and stuff. No,
Yeah.
it was just more
Well,
playful.
I don't want to
It's a
go
little
like
bit of
unconscious,
fun, like
but
to
like
watch
the
it get a little
cusp.
dim.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not to get dim. I know what that feeling is. It's a little scary. Like there was some sneaky chokes that they would teach us where I was like, "Oh my god!" Like that's a tap.
Right.
Like just know I can
Yeah.
feel the world starting to close in on me. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no,
But
I
in like a
definitely
safe,
couldn't go to those.
spicy way, like, yeah. No, I wouldn't want that at all.
Yeah, couldn't go to those because next thing you know, you're having to explain why you're all flushed, and it's not because of the exercise. Nope, not at all.
Yeah.
No.
Now, I will say I did not train with my husband, so that would make it different. I've seen people who are partners that train together. Like I get that when you look at jujitsu, it looks like people are doing stuff like, basically 69 is a thing that people do. Like just
Yeah.
it's not, but it is. Like there's nothing
Yeah.
sexual about it. It just is.
Right.
Then
But
I'll
like
see the partners where I'm like, you
the
guys are having a little
technique
too
and the
much
muscle
fun.
memory, like,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
still there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, Lisa, I got 2 more questions on my mind for you tonight. Val, do you have anything that you want to ask
I
specifically?
I don't. You brought this on me like 2 hours before we were doing this. I am unprepared. I am following your lead, my love.
You're doing wonderfully.
You're doing
Can
great.
can we get a W Val in the chat that doesn't exist right now? I need everybody listening in
W
podcast land to
Val.
say W Val right now out loud. I'll wait. Okay, good
In
job.
4 weeks'
I know.
time,
I heard you didn't do it over there listening in your car right now.
So in 4 weeks' time, when this eventually like hits, when you actually release this one, and I disappear from TikTok, from chat for like a week, it's because
No,
No, you're not
you
allowed
can't
to do
do that.
You can't leave
not
me
have
hanging.
people's
No.
opinions on
If
this.
you
No.
did that, I think I might quit. I might quit. I'm not codependent, I promise. Okay, so last serious question, then a fun question. And you probably know the fun question. You've listened to the podcast. So the last serious question, if you could go back in time and your younger self, like that girl in your teens or in middle school or high school, could look at you now and see what you've accomplished and where you're at in life, what do you think she'd say, or what would you say to her?
I don't know that she would believe that I'm me. I don't think that would be the case. Because that younger girl had a lot of just feeling like she wasn't going to amount to much. So I think seeing my home, seeing my life, seeing my career would just be like, I don't know who that is. And I think probably just more to my younger self feels stronger of just like I see you because I
Yeah.
went through so much of life being seen because of my hair, because I stick out, because not many people have red hair as much. In my family, I'm the only one. So
With the lighting right now, we can't really see that you have red hair, but I trust you.
I do.
Oh, okay, there we go. There we go. I
Mhm.
like it.
It looks kind of brown back here, but it is red, I promise.
I didn't
I'm
even
a
need to
little
see the
partial to
hair. It's the
redheads.
complexion alone
And
that is a
freckles,
Mm.
redheaded
freckles,
complexion.
freckles, freckles, freckles. Yep, all over the place. But yes, yes. So I stuck out a lot in the world, but then I also spent a lot of time being invisible. So I
Mm.
think just having somebody see me or me beyond why I was unique would have been a
Yeah.
really helpful thing to hear.
And Val, do you want to ask the last question?
Oh, and all of a sudden my brain stopped working, even though I know what the question is.
You know
What
what the question
was
is.
I know what the question is about the last thing you tasted.
Right, but we don't say tasted.
Uh,
What was the last thing you went tongue first on that made you go, "Oh, yeah." And we're talking about food.
Yeah, I was like, I don't let's see. I guess it has to be, so my favorite ice cream, like, ever, which I cannot always find, is, like, chocolate with the peanut butter, like, the hard kind of peanut butter shell that's mixed into it, and so I got a bowl of that, yesterday and just tongue first.
Hell yeah.
Ice cream is bomb. It's
I
good.
had ice cream tonight. It's
Ooh, yum.
fantastic. They had
Mine
a
would have been.
Snickers cheesecake ice cream.
So you said
They
Snickers, and that's great, but then you said cheesecake, and I can't
That's
do
okay,
it.
more for me.
More
More
for
for
you.
me. What was yours, Val?
So on our anniversary last week, we went out to a restaurant just up the street, and they make a lemon drop that they put in literally a chilled, it's an ice cube, but that's your cup. The cup is the ice cube, and then it sits in another plastic one. And then that
Ooh.
ice cup is rimmed with sugar. So you're literally licking this ice and sugar as you're drinking the lemon drop.
That
So
sounds
good.
really good.
Worth 7.
Let's come over, we can go get one.
Yeah, that
I'll be
sounds
on my way.
perfect. All right,
Absolutely.
guys,
I'll see you when
we're
we make
all on our
plans.
way over to Val's right now. It's only like a 20, probably more, a 36-hour drive. We'll make it. We'll make it. We'll make it. All right, Lisa, thank you so much for being a guest on this episode. Val, thank you for filling in for Wendy. It was really nice to see your beautiful face and have your voice added to this amazing conversation.
It was my pleasure, but I know everyone will be happy, very, very happy to have their regularly scheduled programmed co-host back next week.
Yes, next week, for sure, for sure. I'm not sure who we have next week, but it's going to be a good time. We're going to have fun. All right,
Thank
Lisa,
you,
you're
Siren. It was
fantastic.
so much fun.
I'm glad. And was it as scary as you thought it might be?
It was alright. Once I had the questions, I was like, "Okay."
All right,
You did fantastic.
good.
Thank you.
You
Good.
were far more prepared than I was.
Well,
You did great.
most of
You
it's
did
in
great.
my brain, so it works out very easily.
All right. Thank you guys. And thank you everybody for listening. I love you. We'll see you next time.
And that wraps episode 15. If any part of this one hit close to home, take a minute. Drink some water, text someone, sit outside for a second. Whatever gentle looks like for you today, go do that. Follow the show and leave us a review if you've got a minute and share it with someone that needs to hear it. Our Patreon, Tongue First After Hours, is where the rest of the Tongue First universe lives. Bonus episodes, aftercare debriefs, guest reveals, all of it. Links in the show notes, like always. This episode of Tongue First was hosted by Aubrey Siren Jones and Val Asara, edited and produced by Bodera McIntyre, Wendy Reeves, and Aubrey Jones. Special thanks to Lisa Smith for bringing her expertise and honesty into the room, and to Val Asara. Thanks, Val. And to Val Asara for stepping into the co-host chair. And well, thanks to me too, I guess, for holding down every voiceover this week. A special thank you to our Pillow Talk members, Tay Marie, Val Asara, Brooklyn C, Siren, Meggers, Mr. Val, and Mandis. We see you and we appreciate you more than you know. New episodes drop every Monday. Until next time, stay curious, stay queer, and don't forget to lick responsibly. Also, Siren has a nice butt.